I want to talk about game not being everything that you need. And the first thing that I'm going to say is because why is it that when you don't want something, that's when you get what you want? And let me just give you an example. So you know when you lose your keys and you start retracing your steps, you start looking for the keys, you start stressing out, you start blaming other people. I wanted to say this because when you're so focused on finding something, that is when you don't get what you want. And when it comes to you not looking for something, because you know when you're still looking for your keys, but you start going to the bathroom, you start doing other things. When you're in the bathroom and you're taking care of yourself, you're focused on grooming, and you're thinking of other things, that is when you're able to retrace your steps and think about where it is that you put your keys. So that's what I'm going to say, because it's like relationships as well, where you start focusing on the life that you want for yourself. And then is it because you don't care anymore? Or is it because other people want to be a part of your life now, rather than how it was before? Game is about talking to people. It's about gaining confidence, looking your best so that you can attract people. But also, when it comes to game, it's because you're manipulating a situation so that you get a certain outcome. And when you manipulate a certain situation to get what you want, some people can see through the games that you're playing. So that's why some people just either go along with it, or what they do, they don't want to be a part of it. You know when you do things that you like to do, you're not pretending to know stuff. And in a case, that's what some people will do, because when they like someone, they start to pretend that they know stuff. And when you pretend to know stuff, people can see through that as well. So when you pretend to know stuff and you like someone, you're forcing a connection at that point. So that's why you need to focus on both people wanting the same thing while also being attracted to each other. Another thing that I want to say when it comes to game not being everything is to learn how to take rejection well. When it comes to rejection, it's not as bad as you think, because you start to learn something that you can do better. And when it comes to rejection, I must admit that that's something that I am working on. Let's say, for example, a situation doesn't go the way that you want it to be. And for example, when it comes to game, you're talking to someone that isn't interested in you at all. And you can see that they're not interested in you because the way you message them, they send you one-word replies, they don't reply within a reasonable time. And I do get it, people are busy, but when they're not busy, they're not really thinking about replying to you. Some people will continue their life as normal, and they'll see your message, they won't really reply to it. And it's just about people's priorities, I would say. Let me get back to my point when it comes to rejection, because rejection is only as bad as you think it is. And if you can't move on from a certain situation, you then realize it's going to be something that bothers you forever. And for example, you don't want it to be that because someone rejected you, and then you see that person again, that you're not happy for the person of who they eventually be with. But instead, you're trying to resent that person. You want that person to only be with you and no one else. And the way that I'm saying it out loud is because these are the thoughts that some people really have. And you have to think about it. There's so many people that you can actually talk to and then hopefully be with. But in a way, if you're so set on one person, but they're not interested in you, you then realize that you're just going to have to move on either way. So basically, you need to understand that within a day, within a week, within a month, or maybe even a year, that people will forget about it and they'll go back to focusing on their real life. So the things that concern other people by themselves, you'll then realize that they're more focused on that rather than you being rejected. And you need to understand there are bigger things than being rejected. Like sometimes people just don't want to be with other people. Sometimes you have to understand that having peace by yourself is much better than being with someone that isn't really interested in you. Because for example, let's say you get with someone and they're not interested with you at all. You then start to worry, are they going to use you? And when they don't communicate with you where they are, but they're still with you in a relationship, you then realize that at that point you compromised. You're not really getting the things that you want or the things that you deserve. And in that case, you need to know that you deserve better, that the person that you're with, they should be with someone that's more like them. So that's what I'm going to say when it comes to really rejection and not having things that you really want. Because sometimes rejection is like protection. Another thing that I want to say when it comes to game not being everything You need to understand that the people that you may interact with, they may have a background of serious relationships, that the time that you're meeting them is when they're just getting out of a relationship. But sometimes people don't commitment. Sometimes other people look at other people's relationships and then they realize that they don't want that for themselves. So that's why, depending on each person, you then realize that you're going to have a different outcome. So that's why, depending on each person that you're talking to, you just need to get to know them more and to see how they're like in different situations. But in a way, it is kind of like the long game. But at the same time, you should be like straight to the point. So for example, when you're straight to the point, you understand that you want this, you do a certain pattern and then you get what you want. Or maybe you don't get what you want, but at least you're saving time. So that's what happens when you're straight to the point, you're honest. And because someone is high interest, they're really down to do that. And the people that aren't really interested, you're just going to figure it out straight away. When you're in the long game, you start to know how people act like in all situations, when they're angry, when they're in different environments, when they're around different people in a social circle. Also, when you choose to be serious with one person in particular, you then realize that they want to be a part of your lifestyle, and it doesn't matter what you do. When a person isn't really serious about you, they go on as many dates as they can, but also there's no intention of them really being with you. Also, when it comes to game, it's more about how other people really treat you. No matter what you look like, no matter what you're saying. I know I just ended the video, but I wanted to end on this. So you know, for example, when people pull back, and you know they're not interested in you because they're pulling back, they're coming back into your life when it's more convenient for them, it's because you allow it to happen. And when you allow it to happen, it's because you're no longer thinking about yourself, but you're thinking about the good times that you have with people. For example, when you have good times with people, you start to forget all the negative times. So when you attract new people and you're not trying to go back with someone that you've already been with, you then understand why game is so important, because it's about you being in control, it's about you knowing what you want, and also understanding the difference between someone being interested and someone really not. So that's what I'm going to say when it comes to game. And you can let me know your thoughts, and I'll leave the video as that. And thank you for watching.